Today we are going above freezing once again, which is nice, and we got a sunny day. And for the next few days it's going to get really warm, t-shirt weather, which will be awesome. And I think most of the snow is going to disappear. You can see the trees now coming through the snow. Yeah, I think with that warm weather in the next couple of days, I think most of this snow on the benches will be gone. Yeah, spring is on the way.
Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. The spring repotting continues today. I'm going to repot this Downy Willow that Zin gave me. I've never looked at the root system on this tree, so it should be quite interesting to see what is in the soil. Here is a look at the tree. So you can see at the base of the tree there's no really visible surface roots or any dramatic root flare happening. So I'm hoping that there's some good roots and I can expose a little bit of them, raising the tree up a bit in the pot. So I will begin by getting the tree out of the pot. All right, well, let's see. It feels quite loose in here. There it comes. And let's check out the root system. So, there's one of my drainage screens. Well, it doesn't look too badly root bound. There's certainly a lot of roots on the bottom and around the edges. But I think it'll be a good time to repot it. At least I'll know what's in the soil. So I'll start raking out the soil from the roots. And like I said, hopefully there's some good roots happening here. Now on willow trees, I like to keep more root than you normally would on any other bonsai. I like to keep them lots of roots, so that's why I'm not just cutting off this mat of roots on the bottom. I'm trying to keep some of that rootage. I find on willows if you start reducing the roots down too much, the tree gets weak and you start losing branches. And I don't know if that's the same with these downy willows, but it sure is like that for weeping willows and black willows. So I'm going to be conservative on the amount of roots I remove from this tree. There are, plenty of roots up in the upper soil. Not as many as that mat, but there's my orange cat outside. Not Jones, but the old orange cat with the floppy ears, with the ears. Let's go have a look at him. Where's that kitty? Oh, there he is. Hello. You can't go in. Hello. How are you? Are you enjoying the outdoors today? Hey, are you enjoying the outdoors? Yeah. You love it outside, don't you? Yes, you love it outside. Especially when it's warm. Hey? Yeah, you like the warm weather, don't you? Yeah. I'm actually just cleaning my hands on the cat. They had some mud on it from repotting, so. No, I'm not. I wiped him down before I was petting the cat. But he's useful for that, aren't you? Yeah, you can clean your hands on these cats. They're very useful. They're a very friendly cat.
They're shedding too. Look at all this fur I'm getting off you, hey? Don't rub against the camera. So much fur you're shedding. My goodness. What do you think it is, spring? Yeah, you're a good boy. Okay, I got to get back to work repotting. See you later. Well, I will just keep trying to get this mat sorted out on the bottom. And if I have to rip through a lot of roots, well, it's still better than cutting them off. At least I will retain some of them. And maybe, you know, after I have a look at them, maybe I'll decide, well, I'm just not in a good position, and I may decide to get rid of them anyway. But I'd better sort it out, at least evaluate them, the possibility of keeping them. But boy, they're tangled up. They're just so tangled. I don't know where they begin or end. Yeah, so there's kind of that mat of roots sorted out a bit. So I don't think I'll be keeping all of them, that's for sure. So I'm going to do some cuts now. I'm going to get rid of a lot of these roots on the bottom. So here I go. Just cut off most of those roots. I'm keeping kind of the roots that were feeding those bottom ones. That's a bit more of a manageable root size. So I'll clean up and well, maybe I can get a bit more soil out of the root system first, and then I'll clean up and we can start the actual root pruning and selection. Here is a look at the root base now. So it looks, you know, the tree was planted with this one quite horizontal. It looks like the root base is more suited to have this a little more in the air. So the trunks are a little more balanced in a kind of a V shape is what it looks like, but we'll see. You have to evaluate the style versus the natural root plane and kind of decide where to go. So I'm just kind of continuing to sort out the roots a bit. Yeah, they're quite all over the place is the word. I mean, it has a good root base. It's just, yeah, not exactly textbook radial roots, that's for sure. Now, I'm going to just give the trunk a bit of a cleanup here. I kind of want to see what's going on. There have been branches pruned off and stubs, and I just want to see if it needs any cleanup. Okay, so now I'm going to have a look at the tree. Now that I can see the root base, it may change, you know, what's the front of this tree. This is definitely not a good front. I got roots coming out quite high up. I think they'll have to get pruned away. You can see most of the roots come down lower. So this was the front, and it was tilted over quite a bit. But would it look better, more upright is the question. I can see, if this was a cutting, I can see a line down here where most of the roots start. I imagine it was a cutting. Well, let me start by eliminating some of these upper roots that are just not so good. So around here, these are too high compared to the rest of the root system, so they can come off. And try and get the rest of it, which includes this root down here. I have to nibble in a little deeper. Like that. And nibble this back. Like that. And then there's a bunch of kind of growth here, suckers that have formed from this branch that got removed here, and some over here too. That needs some cleanup work. They're just making the trunk kind of bumpy. Like that. That gets my trunk kind of cleaned up. So I will be able to expose a little more trunk than I had showing before. I'm just kind of uncombing some of these roots here. Or untangling, I mean. Not uncombing. Yeah, so let's say this root needs a bit of sorting out. It's my worst root. So there's one coming off the top of the root here I'll get rid of. Like that. There's another one sticking up here I can get rid of. This one's going upwards at a weird angle. I can get rid of that one. And the rest aren't too bad. Reduce this one back. There's one hanging down here. I'm going to do some root pruning. Getting some of these roots sorted out a bit more radial and in order. So I'm taking off some of these long parts that are growing at funny angles, and some of the roots that are just too low on the tree. Like that one. That one. This one. Kind of flattening out the root base on the bottom. Somewhat. Here's one that's hit the bottom of the pot and got all funny. So that makes the root base a bit more compact. You can see it sits a little better now. It's still pretty wild, but I think that'll be the nature of this root base. It'll be a little wild. Just pruning off some of the ones that go funny directions. They've hit the edge of the pot and gone kind of all sideways. Well, it's got most of them. These roots aren't active yet, so again, a good time to repot the tree. It's just starting, the buds are swelling on it. Okay, well, this is getting cleaned up better. So the front was around here. And it was kind of like that. That's a fairly good angle for the tree, like this. The only root that's a bit weird is there's one that sticks out the front here. And I don't know if it would be better to prune it away or if I should just leave it. I think it'd be better to prune it away. It comes straight out the front and then curves in a weird direction. There's lots of other roots in this area that can take its place or visually take its place. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm about ready to plant the tree. I don't think there's going to be any. I'm going to make it a little more upright, kind of equalizing these roots on the bottom, but basically I think that's what it'll look like in the pot, and I'll use the same front. I don't think there's a better front. I mean, I could put this branch in the front, but it's not very attractive. I think I'd better do a little more nibbling here too. It's sticking out just a bit too much there. That's better. That'll give it a chance to heal over a little more flush. Yeah, I don't think there's a better front. So I think somewhere here is pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so is the same pot good? Probably. Yeah, I think so. I'll put it in the same pot. So, my one drainage screen came out the bottom. I better put it back in place. There. Drainage screens are wired in. I'll just give the pot a bit of a clean up too. I don't know if there's a front to this pot. This pot has bamboo and some flowers. This side has sort of a tree and some flowers. Well, what a difficult choice I have. I think I'm going to go with this side as the front, the flowery side. These Downy Willows do flower, so kind of matches it a bit better than bamboo. Okay, cleaned up. I'll get a base layer of soil in the pot. Here I go. I'll have to put a fair amount of soil in here because this is quite a deep pot. There's a nut in my soil. It's one of those hickory seeds that I planted, and they just never germinated. So, I don't know. I don't throw them away. I just stick them in some old soil and maybe someday they'll germinate. I don't know. Okay, so now I can position the tree in the pot. And I was going to have it kind of a bit like this. Yeah. So I want this part of the tree coming forward. That's kind of my main apex. And I've kind of changed the angle quite a bit. It's a lot more upright than this branch. Instead of being almost horizontal, it's quite upright too. I think somewhere there, and then I've got to push it over more to this side of the pot. Kind of create a balanced composition. Somewhere about there. So now I will sort out the roots. So I'm going to come from above and I'm just trying to create the best root base I can by untangling a lot of these crossing roots and getting them to be a little more on the radial side. That may be about it there. Now let me check the height in the pot. It's a little high. There's pretty good. Okay, I'll start filling it in with soil now.
It's warming up really fast outside. When I got up this morning, it was minus 6 degrees Celsius, or 6 degrees below freezing. And now it is like +3. So 3 degrees above freezing. So yeah, the weather changed quite quickly today. And for the better too. I'm sure we'll get some more snow. We usually do. Winter is not over yet, but it's fading fast. Okay, I gotta get this soil worked into the roots, and I'm gonna just check again if I'm happy with the composition. I think so. I think as this apex strengthens up and thickens up, it'll look quite nice. This will be kind of a back branch, side branch. I've got another back one that you can kind of see there. Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm sure, you know, as the tree grows and changes, there'll be some tweaking in the future. Maybe the exact front will rotate a bit, but it's pretty close. I think it's a good front. Here is a look at the tree, so kind of from above. So the pot is quite heavy for the tree. It looks, you know, a little lost in this pot, the tree, but I think the tree will be able to grow in this pot for, you know, probably at least 3 years. And with the willows, I like to keep more root than I would on a typical bonsai. They seem to need more roots. And this pot will hold a lot of moisture in it, so it should keep the tree quite happy. They do like lots of moisture, these trees. Yeah, so that's a look at it. I think it's looking good. I think it's improved today. I like the new planting angle. I think it's got the roots sorted out a bit. It's an incremental improvement to this tree for the future. It's time now to water the tree. So here I go, giving it its first water since it was repotted. I'll definitely do a recap of all the trees I've been repotting this spring in maybe a month, and I'll let you know how they're all doing. All these small improvements you make to your bonsai each year, pruning, repotting, root pruning, they all add up, and over many years it creates a really nice bonsai. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.